Now, I'm not one to make a drama out of a crisis. The terrifying heat wave we saw in July was no such thing. The high temperatures were the welcome manifestation of something called summer, about which most of the media appeared unaware, as they whipped us into a frenzy about how half the population would collapse with sunstroke if they left the house. None of the pessimistic hysteria around Project Fear and Brexit came to light either. A run on the pound, remember that? A flight of capital, a housing market crash, high interest rates. None of it happened. It's my view that Brexit is going pretty well, and we haven't even started yet. Don't take my word for it. New data from the HMRC and the Office for National Statistics revealed the UK's total exports in the last quarter of the year reached just under £100 billion. Wait for it, the highest level on record. And then, of course, there was the COVID hysteria around a virus that could be nasty and took too many from us, but which was mild or non-existent for most. What was, in my view, a diabolical and colossal overreaction to this bug is why we are now in the mess we're in. So, heat waves, Brexit, a novel respiratory virus, all heavily billed as Armageddon, but on closer inspection, were anything but. However, I hate to tell you, we are now in trouble. Old Vladimir Putin, the large table-addicted, germophobic, topless, horseback-riding freak show of a man, has switched off the Nord Stream 1 gas supply, blaming a leak. A leak, eh, Vladimir? Well, is that why you turned it off? I'll file that under the Meghan Markle school of credibility. It's quite clear what he's up to. He's turning the screw on the West. By blocking supplies of gas upon which countries like Germany and Italy are so dependent, we will see wholesale gas prices spiral further. But you've got to understand that, hellish warmonger though he is, all of this is on us. Putin's power comes from the eco-zealots in the West who rejected the colossal reserves of shale, oil, coal and gas on its own shores, not least here in the UK, where we would now be comfortably energy independent if we had simply mined from our own resources. Something achieved by the Americans when they greenlit shale gas exploration over 10 years ago. To make matters worse, eco-zealots here and abroad even blocked investment in nuclear, a carbon-free, reliable and secure source of long-term energy. Just think how many nuclear power stations we could have built with the 34 billion quid that we spunked away on that pathetic test and trace system during the pandemic for a virus that was never going to be stopped and which has a survivability rate of over 99%. Well done, everyone. 34 billion quid. Now, I'm all for solar, wind and wave technology, but it was patently clear that a mix was going to be needed given the enormous cost of renewables and their temperamental and uneven performance. When the wind drops, the turbines stop spinning. On a cloudy day, the solar panels slip into standby. And dear old Angela Merkel, the most overrated politician in European history, proudly declared in 2011 that Germany was going to reject nuclear fuel. This, of course, rendered the Germans reliant on Vladimir Putin's gas, paying him billions to this day and effectively bankrolling his war machine. But it's not like they weren't warned. Donald Trump himself laid it out in no uncertain terms to the Germans when he was president in 2018. The West was so arrogant. They thought they could go green at a cost of tens of billions of pounds to their own citizens, whilst countries like China, India, Russia and Brazil continued to burn fossil fuels for fun. It was political and strategic folly on an unprecedented scale. Vladimir Putin is the symptom, but the woke West is the cause, worshipping at the altar of climate change. You know what they say, go woke, no smoke. So here's where we are. The Daily Mail today, reporting that experts are saying energy rationing will happen this winter. People told not to cook until after 8 p.m. Pubs closing at 9 o'clock, a 3-day week for schools, care homes cancelling outings for residents and swimming pools left unheated. Now, you know me, my glass is always half full. I seek good news where I can. I want this show to lift you, not grind you down. But frankly, with regards to the energy crisis, there's actually nothing that we can do. In time, absolutely, grant those fracking licences, commission the nuclear power stations that we need, and pursue renewables. But for the next few months, we are powerless to avoid the spiralling cost of global energy prices. And here's the kicker. We haven't even got the money with which to help hard-pressed Brits heat their homes this winter. Let me remind you that people like myself were vilified for questioning lockdowns, printing money and borrowing £500 billion. I'm on record as saying at the time, what happens if we need that money for a future emergency? Well, here we are, folks, and the cupboard is bare. The truth is that it's just not an option for thousands of hospitality venues, care homes, schools and private dwellings to shoulder the cost. Take a look at this tweet from a restaurant owner. It's an absolute shocker. This chap says, my current energy bill for my tiny 22-cover restaurant is £2,928 a year. That's the old figure. This is my new quote, £22,000. So we've gone from three grand to 22 grand in a year. He goes on to say, unsure what to do next, but as a business, that cost would now be more than I pay in rent and more than I take some months. I simply don't have the money for this. Shocking and terrifying in equal measure. On this occasion, our next incoming Chancellor will, I'm afraid, have to return to the magic money tree and roll out a package of support for millions of Brits this winter that will be on the scale of the furlough scheme. Furlough itself was a disgrace because we should never have locked down and paid healthy people to stay at home and close once viable businesses. But an energy furlough scheme for the next few months is not just essential, but in my view, inevitable. But just remember how we got here. Failed eco-policies which have enriched and empowered tyrants like Putin and autocratic regimes like Saudi Arabia. And don't forget that we don't have the financial resources with which to comfortably tackle this crisis because we had a collective mental breakdown over a predominantly mild virus. But here's my note of optimism. We've got a new Prime Minister coming in. And I think it's time for a fresh approach and new ideas. Liz Truss is a doer, not a talker, and has been a dynamic force in every department in which she has served. Look, she's not the best public speaker, and she will make plenty of mistakes as she learns on the job. But she gets things done. I, for one, will give her the benefit of the doubt. And energy independence must be Liz Truss's #1 priority. And Britain is still an economic powerhouse with low unemployment and a talented, dynamic, creative and hard-working population. We continue to enjoy a huge capacity to borrow further with which to support the economy and the people in the months ahead. This time, it's justified. There's trouble brewing, folks. There are dark times ahead. A chill wind blows. But with brave and clear-sighted leadership and a commitment to never again repeat the mistakes of the past, we can make the best of a bad situation, navigate our way through what will be a challenging couple of years, and come out even stronger. But for now, if I were you, I'd invest in a duffel coat this Christmas.